Yeah, hi Aaron, it's Vic Navadauskas here. I'm the manager of the Aquatic Pest Program in Biosecurity SA. We're here today to have a look at these pearl oysters and just try to set up a few little bit of sort of experiments to try to see what sort of makes them tick and how they interact principally with the razorfish that live out here. So what we've got here behind me is a series of plots, and we've come through and we've pulled out all of the oysters out of all of these plots, and then some we've replaced by putting the razorfish back in, and then others we've done only with live razorfish. So dead razorfish and live razorfish, and just live razorfish. And then we're going to see how the pearl oyster recruits back into these areas, how it settles and where it comes in, and how quickly they can re-establish. The surprising part for us though has been the actual density of razorfish. We're finding anywhere from 6 to 10 razorfish per patch, per square metre that we're digging in, and that's quite a good revelation. And in a sense, a lot of these oysters that you see out here are actually clumped on shells of either live or dead razorfish, and that's part of the study that we're trying to do, is find out how they interact and whether there's any cause and effect between the two of them. Well, this species of oyster is a native Australian oyster. It's actually found distributed throughout the tropical parts of Australia. It's the same genus as the pearl oyster that's used commercially in pearl production up in the northern parts of the country. But it's not the same species, it's a related species. It does make a pearl, and we've actually found a few little pearls while we've been digging around here. But the pearls are barely 2 millimetres across and a big one, so they're not really favourable for that sort of production. But they certainly are a tropical species, and we've always accepted the northern Spencer Gulf is a remnant tropical ecosystem, and so if any tropical species finds its way into northern Spencer Gulf in particular, then there's every reason to expect that it will survive and prosper. How? Well, there's a couple of sources of it. I mean, the one most people would think would be shipping, and there are a number of ships that come up as far as Whyalla and Port Bonython that arguably might have brought some in. But again, our historical records suggest that it could have been here for 15 years or more, and so we can't really trace back to that. The other thing is this thing called the Lewin Current. The Lewin Current is a tropical current that flows down the west coast of Western Australia, turns a corner at Albany, usually around about this time of the year, and then heads east. And that will bring with it tropical species, and larvae of tropical species such as oysters can well survive the journey in the Lewin Current and then find their way back into a tropical ecosystem, and then they say, hey, I'm home, and they get into it. So that's basically the theories we have on it, yeah. Well, northern Spencer Gulf, I said before, is a remnant tropical ecosystem. It's characterised by what you can see where we're standing, and there's quite large expanses of intertidal mud banks and sand banks, and these intertidal banks are very, very important in the production of food for filter feeding animals such as razorfish and, regrettably, pearl oysters. So at a time like now when the tide's down, the whole surface of this mudflat behind us is alive with tiny microscopic organisms called diatoms, and they are breeding and prospering, and they are an enormously tremendous food source to all of these filter feeding animals. Once we step below the low tide mark, we're really in seagrass communities, and these are good, healthy seagrass communities that characterise the upper part of Spencer Gulf. But they peter out in probably 4 or 5 metres of water because the water isn't all that clear, and part of the reason it's not clear is because of the high productivity that I just mentioned before, lots and lots of microalgae, and so they provide a tremendous food source for all the breeding creatures that live in this area. That's basically what this part of the Gulf is like. Some of the interesting things that we're looking at here as well is the fact that there is industrial activity planned, and there is an expansion of mining activities coming, and so there will be an increased volume of traffic moving up and down through the Gulf in all sorts of arrays. There will be changes to infrastructure. I mean, the Port Augusta power station just in front of me is a sort of an indicative of the kind of industrial component that feeds off a Gulf like this. And so we'll be watching very carefully as the years unfold as to how the system copes with the incoming changes.